everyone. Welcome to the regular council meeting for Tuesday, April 5th. It's currently 7 o'clock. Before we get started, the Village of Anmore would like to open our meeting by recognizing the many Indigenous peoples of our area, including the following First Nations with communities that are located in the region that we now know as Metro Vancouver: Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Coquitlam. Further, we would like to honor the important place in history occupied by the many territorial keepers of these lands and waters around us since time immemorial. So I'd like to call the meeting to order. Before I approve the agenda, I'd like to amend it to include a late delegation submission by the Anmore Garden Club. This will require a unanimous vote of council. Could I get someone to move the delegation? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Perfect. So then, could I get approval of the agenda as amended? Moved, seconded. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. We now will move on to public input. Public is permitted to provide comments to council on any item shown on the meeting agenda. A 2-minute time limit applies to speakers. Ms. Maloney? Yeah.
Nancy Maloney, 1724 East Road. And can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. I'd like to give input to several consent agenda items. The first being Nelson's challenge for local governments to donate to the Red Cross for their Ukrainian appeal. And Nelson, actually a relatively small community, gave $1,000. And I would like for our village to meet this challenge and make an equivalent donation. And the second consent agenda item, New Denver. This is page 43 of your package, if you want to have a look. So the New Denver municipality has done this amazing thing of condemning Russia's invasion, attacks, and atrocities on Ukraine. And I would like to request that Anmore also stand with New Denver and object to the actions of Russia. Okay? Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other? Okay, we'll move on. Now we have our delegation. Ms. Nancy Knauer from the Anmore Garden Club regarding the Year of the Garden 2022. Welcome.
Okay. Never done this before, so.
You can pull the mic down. There you go.
Too short. Okay. Thank you for welcoming me to the council meeting. I'm Nancy Knauer, 1120 Thompson Road, chair of the Anmore Garden Club, and I have a few of our members joined us here tonight. I'm here to have the council recognize and proclaim our village as a garden partner of the Year of the Garden 2022. Our application is through the BC Council of Garden Clubs, to which our group belongs. Communities in Bloom and the Canadian Garden Council have invited municipalities to proclaim 2022 as Year of the Garden for their citizens to acknowledge all the benefits of gardens and what gardening provides. By joining Canada's celebration, municipalities will demonstrate leadership and inspire and engage citizens using evidence-based information and actions to contribute to the sustainability of Canadian municipalities. So what is the Year of the Garden? It is a centennial celebration of Canada's horticultural sector from January 1st to December 31st, 2022. It will commemorate Canada's rich garden heritage, celebrate today's vibrant garden culture, and create important legacies for a sustainable future. The Year of the Garden is an opportunity for a municipality to engage citizens and the community to highlight and impact priorities such as post-COVID recovery, and I don't know, but many of us did work a lot more in our garden than we did before, healthy lifestyles, the quality of life, climate action concerns, and there's a whole list of things, It will inspire the public to learn about the connection gardens and gardening have with many important qualities of life benefits, environment, economic, health and wellness, and cultural benefits. For these reasons, I am asking the council to recognize our own Spirit Park for our community to help and join in the celebration of the Year of the Garden 2022. The theme being Growing Great Places Together. I classify Spirit Park as one of the Anmore's great places where the community has played a big part in its history. Back in 2000, and now comes the history lesson, because I've been here that long. Back in 2001, council wanted to develop the land behind the old village hall. They called out to the members of the community for opinions and ideas. Discussions were held, a skateboard park or a community park. A community park was decided upon, thank goodness. I came forward with a plan. Together with funding from the village and the hard work of our community members, we now have what is known as Spirit Park. Over the years, we added the entranceways, the gazebos, trees, and etc. At this time, many voiced an opinion to have a garden club. So in 2002, which is 20 years ago, many of those volunteers got together to form what is now the Anmore Garden Club. For many years, we took pride in cleaning up the park 3 times a year and prepare it for local community events. We now still do it 1 time a year, preparing it for Easter, and that's happening this weekend. If anybody wants to come out and help clean up Spirit Park, we're there. The school also participated from its beginning every year. The grade 5 leaf-taking class came up to the park to plant trees, and I arranged for the trees, and they were purchased by the village, and picnic tables were purchased as a thank you to some of the classes. So it was so wonderful to hear some of these kids go, I've never planted a tree. And they would come up afterwards and take a look at their trees when we had the different events. I'm in the process right now of resurrecting this tradition with the help of Carrie Isaac and the principal. This is to be one of the grade 5 classes project when leaving Anmore School. I feel this can be even opened up to the local scouts, to the preschool, depends on how much we want to expand this, and even to buy a bush or a tree that they can plant. With all its history and volunteer help, it is truly a community project that turned 20 last year. It will be a great way to celebrate its birthday, 1 year late due to COVID, and the Year of the Garden 2002. I would encourage any of you to look into the site of Communities in Bloom to find out any more information. So, any questions?
Thank you very much.
So I just need some paperwork that you and I have to do, John, to get
Okay.
this, if you decide.
I think it's an amazing opportunity. And I think that, do we have to pass a resolution? Is that what they're asking for, Ms. Elrick, or?
Sorry, are they asking for a letter of support from council?
They actually have it all listed out. So I
Okay.
just have to go on the internet and copy it out. They've got it all listed as to what, where, who, and a signature from the mayor.
Okay, well, Nancy, why don't we get, because I wanted to talk to you tomorrow as well, just about where the peat moss, we're going to drop the peat moss off, and that I talked to the
mulch,
guys, or the
Yeah.
bark mulch. So I'll call you in the morning, and
Okay.
we'll go through it, and then we'll get all that, and then just meet up here, and we'll get it all sent off. So,
a quick motion?
yeah,
Then I think it might be appropriate, based on Nancy's comments, that council proclaim the Year of the
Yeah.
Garden 2022.
Yeah, I've copied this. It's called the Year of the Garden 2022 Proclamation. Does that help?
Yeah,
perfect.
it's fantastic, thank you. Can I keep this copy?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Do you have to amend the agenda again?
No. So do you want to read out?
So I think the resolution would be that Anmore hereby proclaims 2022 as Year of the Garden in celebration of contribution of gardens and gardening to the development of our country, our municipality, and lives of our citizens in terms of health, quality of life, and environmental challenges.
Good. Could I get someone to move that? Moved, seconded. Any discussion? See none? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so Nancy, yeah, I just wanted to refresh everybody and remind everybody that, what time is it? It's this Sunday, June 10th for Spirit Park cleanup,
From 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock,
and there may be some pizza.
there's pizza. The village is supplying the pizza. It's a cooperation between the garden club
Yeah.
and the village.
Okay.
And John usually comes along with his big tractor and makes our life easier by helping us move the bark mulch.
So unfortunately, my tractor is up at my cabin, but we have another
We have a
tractor.
tractor. We have a tractor.
Yeah. Just a bucket works perfectly. No, just a bucket and. So, yeah, it makes quick work of it, I'll tell you.
Keeps us moving.
Yeah, okay, so we'll do, then, because I was worried if we didn't have the machine, we were gonna have to spread it out into smaller piles, but here I'll just get them to dump it in one
Yeah.
spot because, perfect.
Wonderful.
Good,
So, okay,
good.
wonderful.
Well, thank you for coming, and thank you for all the work that you do.
Oh, and if anybody, we should leave this at the village for a little while. It's the actual first history of the Anmore Spirit Park, when it was
Nice.
built, the photographs. So can I hand this?
Yeah,
I'd like it back
fantastic.
again, because it is the Anmore Garden Club.
Sure, maybe we can scan in the photos and things and we've got them for us.
And Nancy, can you spread this word to your fellow garden folks that, the rhodos that you have, I've got a bunch more.
I know you do.
Anyone wants rhodos that
Can I actually, can I do that?
100%.
Okay, okay.
I don't
I hate,
with them other than drive around them and occasionally hit them.
yeah,
I'd rather someone have
it's just there's such an, the deer don't eat them. There's such an easy plant to grow in Anmore. You know, it should be the one we all head to.
Yeah,
spread it around, they can have whatever they want.
Will do.
good. Thank you. Okay, we'll now move on to adoption of the minutes of the regular council meeting held on March 15th, 2022. The recommendation would read,
That the minutes of the regular council meeting held on March 15th, 2022 be adopted as circulated.
someone to move that? Moved, seconded, any discussion? See none, all those in favor? Opposed, carried unanimously. We'll now move on to the, is there any business arising from those minutes? No? We'll now move on to the consent agenda. Any council member wishes to move an item may do so at this time. I just wanted to make note that the Port Mattie Senior Secondary Aftergrad, those funds have already been allocated. There is no more funds in the community grant thing, so. Anybody want to pull anything? Okay,
To pull item A.
okay, 7A.
That's it.
That's it, okay, so then could I move the rest of the consent agenda? Get someone to move that? Moved, seconded, any discussion? See none, all those in favor? Opposed, carried unanimously. Move to 7A, City of Nelson donate to Red Cross for Ukraine. We'll read the recommendation first, and then we'll have a discussion. So the recommendation would read,
The council received communication dated March 15th, 2022 from the City of Nelson regarding Challenge BC Local Government to donate to Red Cross for Ukraine for information.
good, someone to move that? Moved, seconded. Councillor Trowbridge.
Yes, so, regardless of political stripes or leanings or ethnicity or anything else, this is a world, thank you, world tragedy. Nice to have an assistant, just so you know. It's a world tragedy, and when a community the size of Nelson participates by collecting $1,000, we're so blessed where we live and live in peace and can rely on living in peace. I just think Anmore should share some of its blessed lifestyle and contribute as well.
Well, Nelson is about 4 times the size of Anmore.
Don't care,
Okay,
don't care.
okay,
Look at what we have.
yeah,
We need to share. That's
Okay.
my opinion.
yeah. No, I just was putting things in relative.
Yeah.
So, did you want to put forth an amount, or?
$3 million. 2,000.
Or two.
Any other comments, or?
Yeah, I'll make one
Councillor
comment. I think we're all disgusted by what's going on over there, and we all want to do something. The letter from New Denver is great. I think our federal government has already, sorry. I'm going to start again. Sorry for repeating myself. I think we're all disgusted by what's going on over in Ukraine with Russia, and we all want to do something. So I always think it's not really a municipal government's job to do this kind of stuff, but I think it would make everyone feel good, and I can't imagine who would be against your proposal. As far as the letter from New Denver, in due respect to Ms. Maloney, I think Canada has already taken a fairly strong stance for all of us Canadians. I don't know if a letter from us is going to make any difference. I'm not opposed to it, but I think I certainly would support Anmore doing its part for the Red Cross. The Red Cross is a great organization. They do a lot with the money. So I would, if we can put a motion on the table, I would second it.
Second it for $2,000?
Yes.
Okay, any other conversations? Okay, I'll call the question for a donation of $2,000 on the back of the City of Nelson to donation to the Red Cross for Ukraine. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Thank you, Councillor Trowbridge. Okay, we'll move on now to legislative reports. Anmore fees and charges bylaw amendment, the recommendation.
Thank you. So this was before council at the last regular meeting for first three readings. So the recommendation this evening would be that council adopt Anmore fees and charges bylaw amendment bylaw 655/2022.
Good, someone to move that? Moved, seconded. All those in favor? Opposed, carried unanimously. Move on to 9B, the 2022 Anmore solid waste bylaw amendment. The recommendation would read?
That council adopt Anmore solid waste management amendment bylaw number 657/2022.
Someone to move that? Moved, seconded. Any discussions? See none? All those in favor? Opposed, carried unanimously. Move on to 9C, Anmore water rates and regulations bylaw amendment. The recommendation would read?
That council adopt Anmore water rates and regulations amendment bylaw number 656/2022.
Someone to move that? Moved, seconded. Any discussion? Oh, Councillor Trowbridge.
To some degree, this is driven by water transfer fee. I don't know oh, sorry. You're kind of missing your job a little bit. The transfer fee from Port Moody informs this to some degree, right?
Yes, for sure. It makes up a significant portion of the overall water budget.
Right. In a conversation with yourself, Mr. Mayor, you were saying that when this was put into place, you gave me a bit of a history lesson and told me when this was put into place, there were very few residences up Heritage Mountain all the way to the top as there are now. So it kind of made sense that for pumping the water through Wilderness to get to our borders, there would be a fee for that. But since then, there's probably triple the population of Anmore between us and the source, all being fed by that, which that water would have to get to them anyway, and essentially to our border anyway. And you're going to try and put that in front of the...
I have a meeting scheduled, just so everybody knows about our water rates. And sorry to
No, take it.
okay.
I want to...
Yeah, so we pay a premium through Port Moody regarding our water, and I believe last year, I think the number was about $220,000, I think was the upcharge. So Metro Vancouver, just so everybody's aware, has a bulk rate for water, and it's by the cubic meter, and I think it's about 68 cents, 70 cents a cubic meter, and that is what it costs to deliver it. So water is now becoming an expensive resource to treat. For us, we have some of the best treatment in the world here, and as well to transport. And so many years ago, before Heritage Mountain was built out, there was an argument made that Port Moody, the water going through Port Moody had to then be pumped up the hill to be able to facilitate us because we were having some problems with our wells. That's when we got switched over onto the system. So I have been doing some analysis and doing a lot of research, and so I was able. It took me a little bit of a delay because of the controversy or the switchover of Mayor of Belcarra, because they're in a similar situation. They get their water from North Van District, and it's transported under Indian Arm over to them, and they pay a premium through North Van District. My argument is going to be, as a member of the water district, why are we not furnished water at our borders like everybody else is? And if there is fees that are incurred, they should be incurred through Metro Vancouver. So I have a meeting set up with Metro Vancouver on April 11th. I've invited Mayor Jamie Ross to join me, and so we'll see where it goes. But we're starting the conversation about an unfairness that why the two of us do. Just so you're aware as well, Lions Bay is not part of the water district. They do not get water from Metro Vancouver. They have a reservoir or a dam system which is not the greatest, and quite often they run out of water, just so we're aware of it. So yeah, that's happening next Monday. So I'll be able to brief everybody, but it's a substantial number for us. So
Thanks.
good. So with that being said, move to second. I'll call the question for 9C, the Council adopt Anmore Water Rates and Regulations Amendment Bylaw. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. We're on to number 11, new business, 2345 Sunnyside Road, a development variance permit. Report dated March 29th, 2022 from Mr. Boyd, Manager of Development Services, is attached. Mr. Boyd.
Thank you, Your Worship. There was an introductory report before Council back in February, I believe, to introduce 2345 Sunnyside Road and the requirement for development variance permit due to an existing road right-of-way and existing structure that were placed on the code. The road right-of-way is on the Corvado property, and the structure is already in place. As part of the infill development that the proponent has successfully gained through rezoning, a development permit was required to actually successfully create the subdivision within this area. So before you tonight is a request for a development variance permit. We have gone through and completed the requirements as per the LGA of posting the information for the public. Within the public posting, it was requested that anyone who had any input for the public to come tonight before you for public input, and you see there was no input from the public, and I received no input from the public. So therefore, we're looking to reduce the required exterior side setback down to 3 meters from the required 5 within the zone. However, this setback is only in place for the existing structure. If the existing structure ever gets removed, it would go back to the 5-meter requirement as per the zone. So that's kind of the Coles notes of the.
You have a recommendation?
I do have a recommendation.
Please.
So read it for you. The Council authorised the development variance permit for 2345 Sunnyside Road as attached to the report dated March 29, 2022, entitled 2345 Sunnyside Road Development Variance Permit.
Could I get someone to move that? Moved, seconded. I will just make a comment on this. This also wasn't, this was somewhat of a village issue when they allowed that right-of-way to go through there. They didn't take into consideration the setback. So with that road right-of-way going through there, it actually made the existing premise. So it was not any issue with the homeowner. It was an issue with the village. So with that being said, any other questions, comments? Call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Okay, moving right along. We're on to the mayor's report. March 16th, I met, Ms. Halliwell and I met with TELUS. For those of you that are having internet issues with Shaw, TELUS is really going to be pushing up here the fiber optics. They're really keen on making sure that this whole area up here has fiber optics, so please reach out to them. I think they're going to be advertising in the Anmore Times. There is some sort of incentives they have for up here, but if you are having any issues with your internet, please, TELUS would sure like to come and speak to you. April 2nd, this past Saturday, myself and Councillor Weverink, we actually attended in person the Council of Councils over at Metro Vancouver. I had to do a presentation on our Metro Regional Parks, a real great story. We've added, I think, 172 hectares of land to the park reserve this year. It's been a real good story. visitorship is up substantially, and this is related to the pandemic, but, people are getting out to see our regional parks, and we need to keep growing them. And then later that night, I was there at I participated, and Miss Cryer was there as well, at the Share Imagine Gala. I don't think people really realize the effect that Share has in our community, and the support that they provide to families, to mental health, to, and I'm sure you could speak to it more. They are really an amazing group, and it was a really great fundraiser. I think there was several thousands of dollars raised, and it's something I always enjoy participating in, because I know the effect that they have. And it's kind of an effect that not a people ought to know, or a lot of residents don't know a lot about, but they are very instrumental in providing a ton of support for people in our community, and the Tri-Cities in general. I also had a conversation, paved, and again, costs are expensive as it is, because this budget item alone is going to be about $300,000, but luckily we have, we budgeted accordingly so that our road reservoirs, we will never have roads that go crumbling in this community, and we've done a great job throughout the last several years, making sure we've done Thompson, we've done Strong, we've done Sugar Mountain, we've done Elementary, we've done a bunch of roads to make sure they're all up to standards. Ms. Knauer already took my thunder, and I was going to mention cleaning up Spirit Park. The other thing that we have, which is the following weekend, is we have Easter back, and it's on Saturday, so please, we're going to advertise as much as we can. It's a great thing to see all the young families and the young kids to come out, and that it's a really fun event, and I think your grandkids will be here probably, so it'll be great. And then just a point that I just wanted to stress to everybody that I'm really working hard on, and that is the end of this month, on the 29th, I believe, the administrative offices are going to be moved, and they'll be moved to the Public Works Yard. So that's going to be a bit of a transition, and this building here is going to be taken back to, given back. This is a lease that we have right now, and we are going to temporarily use the school, Anmore Elementary School library, to facilitate our council meetings and other meetings. And also there is the multi-purpose room that we can use there as well. So the challenge that I have for this is that when the lake gets popular, that north end of the lake becomes very congested in the morning. So we had been told last fall that BC Hydro was going to be working on some sort of a pre-booking service. They were going to be following BC Parks. I'm going to be following up with them, because we cannot have any traffic issues getting to the Village Hall. It is our command center, and it will be located at the north end there. So I think we've got a meeting set up with some of the senior people at BC Hydro, making them aware of this, that we will not tolerate any lining up of cars whatsoever, because we have to have access to that Village Hall for as if anything were to arise. So I just wanted to let everybody know that, and it's something I think this community is well deserving of. I've been working very hard. Every year we meet with BC Hydro and talk to them about the traffic challenges, the costs that this community pays in regards to being able to police it, to keep the roads as free as we can. It is a challenging. So the only way around this is a booking thing. So we'll be following up, and I'll just keep everybody aware as we go. So like I said, last fall they said they were working on it, so they've had lots of time to work on it. So we just need to make sure that it's instituted. I'm done, sorry. Council reports.
Just one quick.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to add to what you said. Attended the Council of Council meetings in person at Metro's offices. It was kind of nice to see some faces, not through Zoom. It's a good meeting. It's always informative. And yeah, that was about it.
Good. Did you no?
You said I too attended Council of Council, but I was at home in my office. I did not see people, but I was at the Share Imagine event, and there was very good turnout. It was a real, the last major event in the Tri-Cities was that very event 2 years ago. So that was the last time anyone had really gotten together, and they did a great job. And you are right, they do offer a lot of services. They are the largest not-for-profit in the Tri-Cities, and they have food bank. They treat children and families that are victims of trauma. They also have a housing arm which does intake and provides supportive services at a variety of different locations, and they're growing in that area. That's a newer spot for them. And yeah, they really have their hands in about everything in the Tri-Cities, one way or another. If I ever need some information on anything, I know where to start my first call. So they do a great job. That is all.
Thank you. Councillor Trowbridge.
Yeah, I don't normally talk about anything outside our borders, but on May 7th, they're reinstating the May Day parade in Poco.
Yeah, good.
So every year that it ran, Anmore has provided at least 3 vehicles for that parade, typically carrying some of the noteworthy folks for the community, and our cars are at the front and they have signs with Anmore. So if anybody comes out and wants to participate, it's really a great event. The streets are lined with kids and candies being thrown out, which I know is politically incorrect, but children still eat candy. And everybody has a great time, and they really welcome Anmore there with open arms. We've been supporting them for years. So if you get a chance, come out.
And especially this year, because this will be the first year of the May Day with their new significant community center, which is really, really something to see. So, good. Well, thank you. We'll now move on to the Chief Administrator Officer's report. Ms. Halliwell, welcome back.
Thank you very much. I had a number of items which you thankfully covered for me, so thank you. The trailer relocation was the highlight. More information will certainly be coming out to the community. We're putting up lots of directional signage for people, and we will have a week of transition where the trailers have to be dismantled, moved, and then re-put together. So we'll be sending out lots of information at a time on how you can continue getting service through the Village Hall administrative staff. The other thing I wanted to mention was we had intended on presenting our annual budget at tonight's meeting. However, part of our budget bylaw involves including the rates from Metro Vancouver for their requisition, and those rates weren't available in time for us to present tonight. So the budget will be coming forward at the April 26th meeting, which is the next regular meeting, and we will be required to add a special meeting in May to make sure that we adopt everything before the legislative deadline. So we'll get that information out as soon as possible as well.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
We've got a few information items, Mental Health Task Force meeting minutes, the Metro Vancouver Board and Brief, some general correspondence from the Village of New Denver, District of Elford, and that's it. So I'll open up for public question period. The public is permitted to ask questions of council regarding any item pertaining to village business. 2-minute time limit applies to speakers.
Jurgen 1815A East Road. My question to council is, will the village, in the interests of inclusivity and safety, consider reintroducing the mask mandate for the village council meetings? With all due respect to ourselves and to Dr. Bonnie Henry, the province is unaware of particularities in Anmore. If Anmore persists with the kind of go-at-your-own-risk assessment, the village is in effect skewing participation at meetings against Anmore's elders, who may see themselves as more vulnerable simply because masks are no longer mandated. In other words, older people are less likely inclined to show up and speak because of health interests, and so they forego their own community interests as a consequence. Those who stand to benefit most from the lifting of the mask mandate are younger, more fit people who also, not a coincidence, have a greater risk tolerance. So, do older people in Anmore not have a right to a say in our public forum? Do you not want all sectors of the population properly represented, and safely so, when we actually have fairly major issues before us? So is village council in effect being ageist if they stick to the current policy? Thank you.
Thank you. We have always followed the BC Health Medical, and I kind of take offense to a couple of those comments that we are going at risk in regards to our resident. That cannot be more untrue. And, we follow Dr. Bonnie Henry's advice. The provincial government has mandated us on several occasions regarding coming back to meetings, so we will be continuing to follow that direction, and it is not an age-related thing whatsoever. So, any other public questions? Please.
Nancy Maloney, 1724 East Road again. And I'd really like to thank Councillor Trowbridge for sponsoring the motion to contribute from the village of Anmore to the Red Cross work in Ukraine. And
Oh, we can't hear you, sorry.
oh, you can't hear me?
Yeah.
I'll try again. Yes. Okay. I'll take a brief risk here. A brief risk. Now I can breathe. Anyway, I wanted to thank Councillor Trowbridge for sponsoring the motion for the village on behalf of the residents to contribute to the Red Cross's work in Ukraine. And I know many people, including ourselves, are doing this individually and donating to various other organizations. World Central Kitchen. I could go on and on about the amazing groups and the work that's being done in Ukraine. Anyone who's watched the news in the past couple of days, I'm sure has been absolutely horrified by what is happening in terms of the citizens, who are being executed on the street. Children, elderly people are being just randomly shot who are not even involved in the conflict. Related to that, I would actually still like for us to join with New Denver in condemning. I know, like Paul says, it's really not within the purview of municipalities to usually be doing this sort of thing, but this is a very unusual situation, to say the least, and it's not something that we cannot do. It's something that would usually not be done. So I would like this to be reconsidered at a future meeting for Anmore to join with New Denver, and I'm sure there's other municipalities that are doing this also, to stand up and express our outrage at the actions being done by the Russian military at the direction of their government, primarily Putin. And also for anyone who's been watching the news lately, like the climate situation progressively is getting worse and worse. Like we are at an extremely, extremely, extremely dangerous point of, the earth will not be livable for future generations if serious action is not immediately taken. And every individual has to do his or her part, but also all governments, need to stand up and be counted. So it seems like that we don't have a climate action plan. I know many municipalities do, but it seems like we are not one of those. And so my question to council is, should we have a climate action plan, and could action begin being taken? I know this is probably a time-consuming exercise which might not be able to be completed within the term of this remaining term, which ends in October of our current council. But I think it would be a highly, highly desirable thing also for Anmore to participate in, as every individual needs to do, but as a municipality, as a village, to say, yes, we have a climate action plan, and we will be helping to mitigate global warming in every way that's possible within, the purview of our village.
Good. I'll answer that. Anmore actually does participate quite actively in the climate action of Metro Vancouver, and we are very much conscious of it, and we have certain targets that we're meeting and that we have to meet. So from a region, we are very aggressively with the climate action. There's a significant committee that is at Metro Vancouver that we all partake in, and they've set some pretty hefty goals. So Anmore is very involved in the climate action. So,
But on a local
anyway.
level.
yeah. It is on, yeah, sure, yeah.
I certainly hear you, Ms. Maloney, and I'm with you. I think we all have to do our part. Unfortunately, and I've written about this, Anmore is not a very sustainable community the way we're developing. And I think people are asking for two different things, and you can't have both. I mean, we can certainly address our vehicles, we can address the buildings that we build, but we know that living in large properties and large houses, I mean, there's two people that live in 8,000 square feet in some houses in Anmore, is not sustainable, it's not good for the planet. And there's a lot of people that do not want the type of development that has caused a lot of controversy here lately. So it's a tough thing. I mean, I don't think this council is interested in greenwashing. I mean, I think Anmore, being a rural community, does its part in the sense that we do have a lot of trees naturally. We all value that, and I think that is a big part of our contribution. But if we want to really talk about livability and how we live, we don't live in a sustainable. If everybody in the world lived the way we live in Anmore, this planet would have been done a long time ago. I hate to say it, but we have a big impact. We love it, but it's, I mean, I work on green buildings all the time, and there's a way to design a building, a square building, south facing, that takes advantage of the sun in the winter and shades in the summer to reduce cooling loads and heating loads. So there's a lot of engineering that goes into that. We could have that conversation, but I know that is very controversial, and it's going to be a tough thing for the next council. We know this is the sort of thing that's dividing the community. But I'd love to sit down with you one-on-one and have a real conversation about sustainability and what it looks like, because it may not be what you think it looks like. But as a village, I think we can continue to do our part as a village corporation. But the bigger question and the bigger impact is going to come from the citizens in deciding which direction this community goes. And I'm not going to lie, I love Anmore the way it is, but it's not sustainable from an environmental perspective.
Good. You'd have to come to the microphone. Yep.
I'm not sure how many people actually read the Vancouver Sun. Anyone read the Vancouver Sun? Saturday's paper. Paul, did you happen to notice in the housing section the big article about the development that's happening in Bowen Island? And on a piece of property that is somewhat smaller than Anmore South, but maybe about half the size. And it's amazing what's being done. I meant to sort of post this on Anmore Conversation or somewhere. So no houses that will be built on this property will be permitted to be larger than 2,000 square feet. Is one thing. So, we have these monster houses, but we don't have to have monster houses. Like, there could be restrictions against having monster houses. And in that development also, a certain proportion of the development is being set aside for families with a disabled child and also for seniors. Did you read that article, Paul? It was just amazing.
You know what? I'd love to read it.
Yeah, I did. The lots were very, very small, though. I think they were about 3,000
No,
square foot
half
lots.
acre. They're half acre lots.
No, it was, we were just over there on a tour, actually, from the regional parks, and we went through it. So,
For that development?
yeah.
I don't think it's a time or place to get into a debate, but I'd love to hear more about it, Nancy, and maybe you and I could talk sometime.
Okay,
because
yeah.
I think we want to do something uniquely, Anmore, that's special. We all are committed to doing something special.